Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So in the previous videos, we have basically set up vcpkg and we have set up boost ASIO SSL socket, or like TCP with SSL for HTTPS. So basically opened up a connection essentially, and we also used boost program options right here to get some options from the command line to parse them essentially. So in today's video, we're pretty much going to continue by sending a request to our API, openmeteo.com, right? So of course, this is a REST API, and then it would give us back a JSON response, HTTP response, and then we could basically parse it using boost.json, right? So we're going to basically today add boost.beast for HTTP parsing, so we don't do that ourselves because there's just too much going on and it's pretty unsafe to do it yourself, and it's just a lot of work for no reason. So we're going to be using boost for that. Boost.beast, which is the newest boost library, and boost.json and boost URLs. So instead of like passing up this host string and this service like this, which is very ugly and like very error prone, we're going to be using boost URLs library too, which would really make it way more robust and cool. All right. So like instead of doing all the string parsing crap for like ourselves, which is going to be very brittle, very unsafe, we're going to be using all these boost libraries. So how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, let's add the vcpkg stuff that we're going to need. So we're going to need the boost.beast and boost.json, and I believe, and yeah, we also need URL, boost URL. So you could see that there's a lot, but like all these libraries share a lot of dependencies. So like once you get into Boost ecosystem, it's way easier to add another Boost component. They all share the same kind of libraries essentially. But yeah. All right. So now that we added them into vcpkg, right now let's add them in CMake. So we have URL, we have Beast, and we have JSON, and let's link them here. And honestly, this would be very huge. So let's do this essentially, and now let's add Boost, Beast, Boost, JSON, and Boost URL. The order doesn't really matter, to be honest. So just refresh your CMake, and right now we should have all those libraries here. Let's include all the stuff that we're going to need. So we're going to need boost.beast.hpp, and we're going to need boost, what is else? Boost URLs, I believe, URL.hpp, right? And you're going to need boost JSON.hpp. Now after that, we're going to need some namespaces. Is equal to boost URLs, and namespace beast is equal to boost beast, and we're going to need to JSON. There we go. There we go. Let's actually remove this from here and put it here, because why not? And else, other than that, what we're going to add is, let's see, namespace HTTP is equal to beast, HTTP, right? Whichever. And other than that, I think we're good, really. Yeah, I think we're good at this point if I haven't forgot anything. All right, so let's see how we're going to do this. First of all, we're not going to be using these hosts and servers. We're going to use URLs. So how are we going to do this? Well, URLs, URL. So we're going to basically take a URL. Okay, let's go to the next thing here. So now what we're going to do is url.host. Right, so it's just going to go ahead and parse or like extract the host for us. And by the way, the host wouldn't really allocate, I think. It would just give us a string view, which is pretty cool, which is very efficient. Next thing we're going to need is the service. So the service would be equal to the port, right? But the port could not exist in the URL. It depends on the URL that the user gave. So if the service is empty, it's an empty string view, then what we're going to do, we're going to say service is equal to url.scheme. And the scheme is basically when you say https : / and stuff like that. That's the scheme. Otherwise, we could also do it, let's see. We could also say url.port.empty. And then you basically use url.scheme if it's empty. Otherwise, you use your url.port. So instead of this, essentially. So yeah. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here. Expected. Oopsies. Here should be a colon, right? And I believe this could be constant, right? And yeah, that's basically it. So we either get the port or we get the scheme. Both are accepted by service, so that's cool. Another thing is that in newer Boost versions, you can actually just remove these as you use awaitable because there's another overload apparently. So we could just, and it's much cleaner that way, as you can see. That's pretty sick. Lovely. Next up, what we're going to need. So instead of sending host HTTPS here, we're just going to send the URL. Now, of course, we're going to need the URL here too, as you can see. And honestly, let's just call this connect TLS because it's no longer just for HTTPS anymore. Like it depends on the URL. Like you could use FTPS, you could use whatever needs TLS, right? So that's great. So now, since this function is a C function, it needs a C string, and C strings we can't use string views, so we have to actually get the host name ourselves. So host, let's see, host, url.host, as you can see. Let's add const, and there we go. Now that's pretty much great. Now instead of connect HTTPS, we're going to say connect TLS. And we're going to grab this URL, this string right here, and we're going to just say URL. And here we're going to make a URL. So it's going to be URL, this, right? But we're going to add some few things. So we're going to add the scheme here instead of the port. You could also add the port if you want instead, but yeah. Other than that, you're going to say /forecast, actually /v1 /forecast. Okay, so that's just the path of the API. Next up, we could add some parameters. Now, if we wouldn't be using the boost URL, we had to like do some string manipulation here to kind of like add stuff here and so on, which really is brittle and sucks. So instead, since we're using this, we could say URL set params. Wait, what? Oh, it shouldn't be constants, my bad. Set params. And now here, you could actually give it an initializer list, which contains all the stuff that we're going to need here. So we're going to have latitude, and, well, of course, it needs to be a string. And we're going to have the longitude, which is going to be a longitude, right? There we go. That's perfect. Now let's give our program, or actually instead of program, let's call this fetch weather, because this is the task that it does essentially. And in fact, this SSL context, I'm going to bring it out of here really, because we want to maybe reuse it for anything that needs SSL. And so now our program, or fetch weather here, would need an SSL context. Wait, what? Something's weird here. Weird. Anyways, SSL context, and we're going to need double latitude and double longitude. Okay, let me actually just close and open this because it seems to have lost it somehow for some reason. Yeah. Let's change this into the program. Let's say fetch weather. Let's give it the SSL context here. Yeah, for some reason my IntelliSense have gone. I'm not sure what happened. That's very strange. Let me try to just exit this and start again. Alright, it's analyzing. It's going to take some time. But anyways, so we're actually going to need another coroutine right now, which is to basically read an HTTP request using Beast. Okay, so apparently showing some errors right now, which is nice. So of course the SSL context by reference, we don't want to move it. Other than that, we also want the latitude and longitude here, or fine, just keep it that way. Why not, honestly? I'm going to do the same really here, why not? I should have just like refactored this actually, but yeah. Yeah. We don't need this print anymore. Alright, latitude, longitude. Vim users are laughing in the corner right now. Anyways, so let's see. Let's add constants here and there. And I believe we're good right now. Great. So now let's actually create another coroutine. And this one will give us back like the response, the HTTP response. And for that, we're going to say HTTP body. Now we're going to go with, I think, string body, right? And basically request HTTPS request. I don't know. Fine. And let's go. HTTPS request. So how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we're going to create a request. So how are we going to do this? Well, beast request. HTTP request. Right? And here you give it the body of this request, and since this is a request, it doesn't need any body. We're just going to say empty body. And the next thing here, we're going to actually create the request. Let's see what we got. What we need here is the HTTP verb, right? So the verb is get, right? And the next thing is we're going to need the target. So the target is basically like the path right here of the URL and like the query that we've done here. So to get that, we're going to need the URL, of course. So let's grab the URL. And we're also going to need actually the stream. So for the stream, what we're going to do is TCP, well, that's actually SSL stream, TCP socket. So this is our stream, right? Whoops, can't type today. Right. So now you could say URL. Actually, put the stream first. Why not? Instead of the URL, it just makes more sense to me for some reason. And okay, so URL encoded params, I believe. Yeah. Right. And then the version, which we're just going to say 11, I believe. Let's see what we got here. Actually, I probably have missed this. Encoded, I believe, maybe query, encoded path. Yeah, probably encoded path, actually, yeah. Alright, so now that we've crafted the request, we need to send it. How are we going to do that? Well, go await HTTP async write. And here you're going to give it the stream, and then you're going to give it the request. And then you're going to give it the... Right, I think that's basically it. Right, cool. Apparently this could be constant. Alright, so now we have sent a request. How to read the response? Well, we're going to make a flat buffer, I believe. Well, yeah, beast flat buffer. There's a whole sorts of buffers, but this should be fine. Buffer. And next up, we're going to need... So let's try to actually... yeah, we're going to need a HTTP response. So HTTP, I guess, response, right? And here the body. Now, here, since we want to get like actual string for the JSON, we're going to go with the string body. And this is like the response. If we were like to get some binary data, then we're actually going to use here a vector body or something like that. But yeah. Anyways, so now we're going to say go await HTTP async read. Read what? So here we're going to need the stream. And next up, we're going to need the buffer. And what else? We're going to need the response. Where it's going to put the response. Perfect. So the buffer, it would just use it to kind of like use it as a buffer for the raw HTTP response. And here, the actual parse response would be here, right? We'd put it there. Cool. Now we got the response. What we do next is we just go return it. Actually, let's, instead of HTTP string body, let's return the string here directly. CD string, I believe. And it could say response.body. Though we should check if it was successful or not. So we could say if response. I believe what it was called. I can never remember this stuff. Yeah, result apparently. Result is equal to beast maybe, or HTTP error status. Yeah, status okay. So if response result not equal to status HTTP status okay, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw runtime error. I don't know, HTTPS response error. We could have some more descriptive stuff later on, but for now this is fine, I believe. All right, so now that we got the HTTP response, let's see. So co-await, and here I'm gonna give it the stream and then the URL. And it's going to give us back the response. Well, I did forget some things. So in the request, you could add some headers. So I believe, let's see what we got here. Wait, what? Hold on a second. I'm going to see. Okay, my bad. This always trips me up. So because I made this constant, I couldn't find the function, right? So request.set, as you can see here. Now here the HTTP field. Now instead of giving it like a raw string, which you can make some typo, you have to actually use these typed stuff. So HTTP field, and here I'm going to go with the, what is it called? the agent, I believe, the user agent, right? And here you could give it whichever user agent. I'm just gonna say beast. And the other thing that we could give it, I believe, request set HTTP field. So as you can see, there's all these right here, which is pretty sick. So we could also set, for example, the accept here. You could say like, you know, JSON, application JSON, I believe, or something. But no need for now. Should be fine with that, I believe. So that's pretty much it. Now let's see if this actually works out. So let's try to say cd cout response. And let's see what we get. If everything works out just well, then we should get, well, wait, what? Also, we need another one though, which is use weather, current weather, sorry. Current weather is true. Let's see if that works. We should actually catch exceptions, because right now they're getting swallowed silently, which kind of suck. Okay. Let's try this stuff and see where this is going wrong. And let's just say cdcrr. Oops. I have no clue what happened there. Okay, there we go. That's strange. So HTTPS response error apparently, huh? What if I remove this? I believe we need to add the host too, though. Yeah, I believe we need to add the host too. Let me see. Request.set HTTP field host, yeah. And now you give it the host here, and you're good to go. Let's see if that's the problem. Alright, hold on a second. Oh yeah, my bad. So instead of encoded path, apparently you have to use encoded target. So you include both the target, like the path and the query. So if you just say path, it would only give the path without the query string. So that's pretty much it. So now let's try this out. Let's see. And there you go. So we got our string. Perfect. Now let's actually turn it into JSON. How are we going to turn it into JSON? It's pretty simple actually. So I'm just going to say, oops, just going to say JSON is equal to response.json. Well, actually, sorry, JSON parse, right? And we give it the response. And now we can actually see out JSON. All right, and there you go. So right now we're gonna get a JSON value, which we basically need to convert into an actual JSON, you know, thing, right? So right now this is obviously a dictionary, which is basically a JSON object. So let's cast it to that .json. Whoops, .as object, right? And now after that, what we're gonna do is let's see what we want to get. So in our case, we want to get the current weather. So we're gonna say current weather, right? And this is also an object. So you can see the current weather is also an object. So I'm gonna say again .as object, and then I could like get the temperature, the wind speed, and so on. So this is our current weather essentially. So current weather is equal to this, and like the temperature, temperature is equal to current weather, temperature as double, and let's say we want also the wind speed. So we're gonna grab the wind speed as double, and there you go. Now what we could do is cd print line. So temperature, and wind speed here. You can also give it the wind speed. And there we go. That's pretty much should be it. Now we should have a complete, you know, weather client. You could give it like latitude and longitude, and it will give you back the temperature and the wind speed currently. There we go. So right now we basically, as you can see, have combined all these libraries, all these Boost libraries to create this application, this robust one. So that's great. There's a lot more to do. So one of the things, for example, we could do is make this generic. Because right now it can only be used for string HTTP responses, but you could also use it to, like, let's say, download an image from the internet using HTTPS. So how are you going to do this? Well, template type name body, right? So, and we could, instead of HTTP string body, we're going to say body, right? But notice one thing before we go further. Instead of HTTP string, if you want to get the value that you're going to get from the body of an HTTP body, what you're going to do is string body value type, right? So that's basically the same thing as doing HTTP string here. It's just hard coded. So what we could do instead of string body right now, we could say just body. But this is a dependent type, so we have to say type name. And there you go. So now this would work for any body because it would just get its value type. And there you go. It's pretty much done. Now just got to make sure here in HTTP request, you got to give it the actual body that we need, string body. All right, so that was it, guys, for this video, I believe. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.